G'day, Costa Zouliou with you, and we're on the breakdown.net, and I'm very, very lucky to be able to have a chat to two of my old colleagues from Triple J, Francis Leach and Robbie Buck. Welcome, gentlemen.
Hello, Cozzy.
Hello, Coz. How are you, buddy? Hello, Robbie.
Hey, Frank.
I'm all right, mate. I'm all right. We're doing Grumpy Jukebox, so what we want to hear from you, mob, is what's been new, what has surprised you, and what the fuck? So tell me, Frank, what has been happening in your world? What is new in the Francis Leach world?
Well, I've been back doing What's New is Old again, because I've been back on ABC Radio for a while from last month, filling in on overnights, doing the mid-dawns, doing the graveyard shift.
Woohoo!
Pulling the graveyard shift, pulling an all-nighter. No, not really. The days of the all-nighter are well and truly done. I have to take a nap. It's about 10 p.m. with my teddy bear and then get up and go again. But it's been really lovely to be back on the radio and talking to the audience, and it's so sweet from the lots of people who remember us from our time at Triple J as well. So it's actually been a lot of fun in between the sort of woozy feeling of being constantly jet lagged. So having great fun, feeling like you want to die, basically.
Tell me about what happens around about 4:30 in the morning when you're thinking about, okay, I've got a time out, I've got to get up to the top of the clock and work it out. Now I've got to do some maths here, but not in base 10, but in base 6. How's that go for you?
Yeah, the brain's swimming around like Kieran Perkins in lane 8 at that point. But you know what? I have taken great pride in showing off to the younger people who are producing me that I can time out like a bitch to the top of the clock. Like, hitting the top of the clock with the end of a song is, something that was drilled into all of us, and it's still there. So I'm like running around the studio pumping my fist. Have a look at that. Have some of that.
Take that. When you say they're younger, Frank, I mean, are they just in their 40s? We're talking about that kind of thing?
Yeah, exactly. Just about 20 years younger. God, we're old. And grumpy too. And the Duke,
Robbie,
my dog's just turned up.
What have you got? G'day, Duke. Duke, the black lab, has just turned up.
Yeah.
And what about you, Robbie? What have you been doing since Triple J? Just fill us in, It's only been about 25 years, hasn't it?
Yeah, sure. Take a seat, folks. We've got all night. In a strange turn of events, I've just gone full circle as well in my radio career. And it's not going back to the ABC. It's actually going back to pre-ABC, which was community radio. And the station that I started out at in Sydney on community radio was 2SER. SER is a station that's been funded by universities, Macquarie University and UTS, for nearly 50 years. And late last year, Macquarie decided that they were going to pull out. And for a little while there, it really looked like it was going to be the end of one of Australia's, much loved and largest community radio stations. So I've been kind of doing a bit of work behind the scenes to try and bolster its chances, along with a lot of other people. But as part of that, I sort of thought, I got offered a little slot, do you want to come back on the radio? And so I have been hosting a show called Aloha Freaky Alumni, which has been a bit like this, actually, pulling back voices from 2SER's past, many of which, of course, we'd know from their time on ABC. So Kingsmill was the first guest for the first show. Sarah McDonald.
I tried Kingsmill. I couldn't get Kingsmill. Well done,
Couldn't
Robbie.
you?
No.
We haven't had an audience with the king yet.
Yeah.
That is hilarious.
I bended the knee,
I don't know what he's saving himself.
Yeah.
What is he saving himself for? It's like, come on, dude, let it hang out. It's okay to be getting around in a dressing gown at 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Richard. Come join us.
And Sarah Mack as well. Sarah Mack's,
yep.
She's one of the alumni.
Yeah. Yeah, Sarah Mack was the following week's guest, and we had a lovely conversation. I mean, you know what? Much like what we're doing here, it's just like putting on an old glove, though. When you get into a radio studio with folk that you've worked with over so many years, it's such a lovely, comfortable and joyous thing to do. And so it's silly not to do it. You know what I mean? Like, for all of us, we spent lots of time in those studios, and we were sort of forged in the same kind of environments. And it's sort of muscle memory for a lot of it. So it's silly not to exploit it. And of course, in amongst all this, it means that it gets a little bit of extra publicity and higher profile for the station. And I think I actually just had a phone call this afternoon from somebody from UTS basically saying to me, it is going to survive. So
fantastic.
Oh, good.
You're the first people I've actually told. So that's really good news. It has been a very long and quite big fight, to be honest.
Yeah.
And I think for a little while there, it did look like it was going to go down.
So unlike 4ZZZ in Brisbane, it's not subscriber driven then to SER.
It's partly subscriber driven, but it doesn't have the same. It doesn't have the same level of subscription support as the big stations like Triple R. Triple Z has a better history for it. I feel personally that it hasn't exploited the potential of those areas enough, and I guess there hasn't quite been the same critical requirement because you've had two institutions kind of giving the base level of funding. So they've always had subscribers, and they've always had radiothons and subscriber drives, but they don't have that same level, or they haven't in the past, that those other stations have had. But I think that is going to be the next step, is to make sure that it's going to be viable. Because, community radio is just... I think it's more important now than it has been in the last 20 or 30 years. I think in the age where young people are getting not all, but a lot of their music is coming through algorithms. A lot of those algorithms are based offshore. We all know that being able to integrate with your local music scene is the most powerful way to support local Australian music. And community radio does that better than just about anything else. And so in that respect, I think it's super important. And then the flip side to that as well is having independent voices where you're not just being sort of manipulated by algorithms for all sorts of nefarious outcomes, which we all know about at the moment too. And the fact that it's not trackable. I mean, you can listen to a community radio station and people aren't going to go, oh, we notice you've been listening to SER a bit more than you should be. So, all these reasons, and there's plenty more, but I think it's a really important time for community radio.
Yeah, and also it's a great training ground for people. I mean, that's where I got my start, at both PBS and Triple R back in the day. And 2SER, as you just mentioned, has produced an enormous list of alumni, as has Triple Z in Brisbane, Cos.
Triple Z with,
I'm sure all around the country.
How many of the, Triple J, Double J, Andy Neal, Stuart Matchett, Phil Cullen, Tony Collins...
Tony Biggs.
Tony Biggs, yeah. All those folks came through Triple Z to Triple J or Double J. And if I'm lucky enough, I'm going to be doing a show every kind of month or so at Triple Z soon as well. So I'm just waiting to see that come off. Kind of a conversation style thing. I just talked to some Brizzy people. So yeah, so that's kind of where we're at. Well, it looks like we're all stuck on this radio gig.
Are you starting your career as a community radio shock doc?
Yeah.
You know what? There's not enough of those, Francis, and I think now is definitely the time.
Yeah, there's a gap in the market. I say.
Yeah,
go for it, guys.
Yeah,
I've just got to make friends with it.
Oh yes. Oh, I've just had this hunger in my stomach to talk to Pete Evans about how.
Activating his nuts. Yeah.
Oh, that is an early what the fuck question. That what is going on there? It's the cynical drive to monetize hate from Carl Stefanovic. Well done, pal. You can never get away, Carl, from being on the footpath in Noosa with Michael Clark. Carl, help me, with Michael Clark pulling a hamstring, trying to defend the fact that he'd been caught playing away from home.
Yeah.
That's the peak of your career, as being a YouTube video for everyone to laugh at, mate. Get on your bike.
It's that way. Right. On that note, what have you been listening to, Frank?
Oh, well, I still... This is one of the things that I still love listening to young, smart new musicians and young, smart kids who make great music. And I've been obsessed with Little Simz. Now, she's a North London rapper, so she comes from the UK, and she's made about half a dozen really interesting and quite adventurous albums, and that sort of British garage Afrobeat hip-hop style. I really like that sort of British style of dance, hip hop, and the language and the accent and the crossover with both drum and bass and the sort of garage sound that's very particular in British and black music and hip hop. And she's just made a fantastic. And what she does is make these albums, and then she'll just drop an EP off the back of the album, which is completely different. And she's done it again with this little EP called Sugar Girl. It's just 4 tracks. It's really up-tempo and it's got a lot of punch, and she's laying it down to a few people she's got a beef with. She had it fell out last year, I think the year before, with her longtime musical collaborator over a financial issue, and it's all in this little EP called Sugar Girl, and it's just brilliant. If you want some really sharp, witty, powerful, punchy stuff that you can roll the window down and you're stuck in traffic and impress everybody that you're still down with the kids, check out Little Simz' Sugar Girl, the EP, because I think she's awesome. I think she's toured Australia. I missed the last time she was here.
Yeah, but she was here a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I really wish I had been. I think I might have been in my other life in Canberra, listening to parliamentarians instead. Wow. Yeah. Why would you make that?
What would you prefer?
Being hit there by a cricket bat. Check it out, Little Simz. Just check out anything she's done if you like that sort of sharp girl power, wickedly funny and just punchy contemporary black R&B hip hop stuff. It's just it makes me sort of walk a little bit taller, Cozzy and Robbie, when I'm listening to it. I'm down with Little Simz.
Well, we like that. Well, I'm going to contribute another artist who sort of has a connection to. That to some degree, musically a little bit different in that not quite as aggressive, a little bit more sensual, but somebody who's actually spent a bit of time in the spare room at my house because she lives in PNG in Papua New Guinea, but she does her recording in Sydney. And this is Ngaiire, who has a fantastic new track called Afar, which I really, really love. But I've seen her a couple of times. I'm lucky enough to live on a street where there's a young guy over the road. Well, he's in his mid-30s, but he's young to me. And he's a fantastic drummer, and he drums for Ngaiire. And so I met Ngaiire and became friends with her. And I saw her for the first time at WOMAD in Adelaide. And she had this on the main stage, had this fantastic stage show and came out in this incredible garb, and just this voice that comes out of her is really sensational. And then got to meet her afterwards, after the show, and she's quite demure and sort of shorter in stature and stuff. But she's been working with Paul Grabowski, the great jazz pianist and composer and arranger, and also Paul Mack, who, from Itchy and Scratchy, and who is now Dr. Mack, actually. Yes. He's a lecturer at the Conservatorium of Music. And so she's got these fantastic influences around her with a whole different range of styles. And so the output that she has extends from essentially jazz to kind of quite dense electronic stuff. So, I sort of feel like there's a dovetail from Little Simz into Ngaiire, and that's who I'm going to be contributing.
Thanks very much, Robbie. Well, I don't think there's going to be too much crossover where I'm going here on Grumpy Jukebox today. What I've really been listening to a lot lately is a band called Blackwater Holylight, and they're an all-female. Well, that's probably what is similar about them is they're an all-female outfit, originally from Portland in Oregon, but now they're living in La La Land. They've been around for about 10 years. Were more of a kind of a stoner metal band to start with, but their latest album that was released earlier this year has transformed them more into a dark sort of shoegaze band. They're called Blackwater Holylight. Some people have coined them doomgaze. I'm not sure if that works, but
that's the look you give me sometimes, Colin. Yeah. The doomgaze.
Every Wednesday night. So it's got really...
That's at 4:30. That's what I'm giving at 4:30 a.m.
That's you in the mirror the morning after.
Yeah, you betcha.
Totally.
Really fuzzed out guitars, ethereal vocals, some gorgeously luscious keyboards, which also sometimes end up sounding like the fuzzed out guitars. Not Here, Not Gone was recorded at Sonic Ranch outside of El Paso in Texas. So if you're a fan, they're touring. They're not coming to Brisbane, unfortunately. Blackwater Holylight is the name of the band. They're playing at Crowbar in Sydney on the 18th of June, the 19th of June at the Corner in Melbourne, and they're doing Dark Mofo in Hobart at the Odeon Theatre. So that would be...
Is that where everyone goes naked swimming?
Yes.
It is.
It is. Oh, have you been, Robbie?
No, I haven't actually. I've seen because it's on the winter solstice.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
It's
we went a couple of years ago. And
did you get naked?
to Dark Mofo. No, I didn't swim naked. One of the blokes I went with went and swum naked, but there's no point.
I mean, especially for the blokes, it's quite an ambitious concept.
My
isn't
word.
It? I mean, you're talking.
Well, what's more ambitious?
A lot of chill.
Is that 4:30 in the morning that you think Frank Leach might be watching?
What are you suggesting, Rob? Some of us haven't got any margin for error when it comes to shrinkage.
I'm only talking about myself.
Do they know about shrinkage?
Let's just put all the cards on the table here, please.
Yeah, I think I'm more of a tropical guy, let's face it.
Beautiful. You're on Grumpy Jukebox on thebreakdown.net. I've very lucky to be speaking with Francis Leach and Robbie Buck. So we're trying to work out what's new, what we've been listening to, the new stuff. Stuff that's surprised us, and a little bit of WTF. So I'll start off with what surprised me is Alice Cooper and Suzi Quatro. Have you heard about this one? Doing MC5's Kick Out the Jams. So
I did see Cozzy the Suzi Quatro album come up on my sort of my music server feed, and thought, I'll have a listen. And I had a quick listen to the new Suzi Q album. It sounds like a Suzi Quatro record. That ain't a bad thing.
No.
That sounded good. If you want to just go foot to the floor boogie record, she's still doing it. She's still got it.
I love Suzi Quatro, and of course, whenever you think of Suzi Quatro, you think of that leather jumpsuit that she used to get around in. But I remember interviewing Suzi Quatro about 10 years ago, and she must have been talking to Johnny Farnham, because she said, "This is going to be my final ever tour. That's it. I'm never coming out again." I went, "Oh wow, well that's really exciting." And then about 18 months later, "Oh, hi, I'm Suzi Quatro. I'm coming to Australia again." Right on.
Well, you've got to wonder, people like that, they just can't stop playing, can they? What else are they going to do?
Right.
So,
and if there's an audience there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So those Detroit rockers, I wonder if Iggy should have, guested on it as well.
Yeah. What a legend. Did you see his most recent performances in the UK where he left the stage in a coffin?
No.
He gets inside a coffin and gets wheeled off, and then a hand comes out the coffin and he just waves to the crowd.
Well, that's
showbiz to the max.
That is, although slightly more family friendly and palatable than the Iggy Pop that I saw at the big day out in Sydney at the Sydney Showgrounds in 1990.
No shrinkage involved there, Robbie.
Holy shit, that was intimidating. And of course, it was preceded with the internal line, "Okay, Sydney, here it comes." And at that point, Iggy's hand reached into Iggy's pants and pulled out Iggy's. And there it was. And let me tell you, you didn't have to be at the front of the stage to see it. That's for sure.
Yeah, it was a thing. It had its own postcode. Yeah, I saw the last time I saw Iggy was at Festival Hall about pre-COVID, but it was just before that, and he was just awesome. The chat supported. It was just a great night, and in that old stinky beer barn, it was just so good. But yeah, Suzi Q, back to Suzi
Q. And Alice Cooper. I mean, I used to have, when I was a kid, I had Alice Cooper. Because I obviously grew up in the land of glam, so I had the sweet Suzi Quatro, Alice Cooper, all up on my walls. And to see those two, or to hear them, playing together, and they both, they still rock. So I quite enjoyed it. So that surprised me. Anything surprising you chaps out there?
Well, I was surprised at how much I enjoyed seeing Split Enz perform live on their first concert in how many years. Just to be in the room with those guys, hearing those songs being played live. They've got there's three of the original members, and they've got a new drummer and a younger drummer and a younger guitarist, I guess. Is it a guitarist? Bass player. Bass player, yeah. Tim Finn's voice is not what it was. He's certainly not got the capacity to be able to hit the notes in the same way that his younger brother can still do, with such clarity and warmth and brilliance. But what was really interesting was to be in a many, many thousand seat room with this band playing those songs and, frankly, some dud notes being sung there by Tim, But the joy of it all, the warmth of it all, transcended all of that. And it's amazing how you realise that there's something about imperfection when it's shared openly is such a really powerful force in performance. And, just those songs, I See Red and I Hope I Never and 6 Months in a Leaky Boat and all the B-sides and all of it. So, when they came out, and they all came out in a big piece of cloth, so it looked like they were in a horse suit, basically, and they sort of all marched on stage in this kind of crazy outfit, and then started the show. But yeah, very, very happily surprised.
I was going to go and see them.
I saw that show as well in Melbourne.
Oh, really? Yeah. See, I was supposed to go and see them at Blues Fest. And it was going to be my first and last Blues Fest, but it actually never happened. And the night that they were playing in Brisbane was one of the nights that I was at Blues on Broadbeach. So it was kind of I couldn't do it. And I'm kind of glad I did. I'm kind of glad I didn't, because at Blues on Broadbeach, this is my WTF moment, I saw a guy called Mono Neon, and I don't know if you boys have heard of him, but he's an American bassist, basically an experimental musician from Memphis, Tennessee. He was one of the last people to work with Prince. He was Prince's bass player just before he died, and he's won Grammys and stuff like that. Flea from the Chili Peppers has referred to him as the greatest electric bass player ever. Wow. That's pretty good. He's played with Mavis Staples, George Clinton, whatever. I don't know. To describe it, there was a keyboard player, a guitarist, Mono Neon on bass, and he plays left-handed bass with a right-handed bass guitar, or strung right-handed, so the low string is at the bottom, and an incredibly fit African-American drummer. And they just start off with this noodle, like a keyboard motif or a guitar chord or a few notes, and then they just build on it and build on it and build on it. And then at times you're kind of wondering, are they all playing the same song? I'm not sure, but they were just incredibly good musicians. And Mono Neon would just throw a hand up or whistle or something like that, and they'd all come straight back into a riff that they all knew where they were going, and just incredible. And you could just see, I was looking around in the crowd, it was a reasonably full crowd. It was like 9 o'clock at night, I think, Saturday night. And everyone's just kind of, their jaws are on the ground. It was this fantastic, and like you said before, that kind of camaraderie in watching something that that not everybody's, gonna ever see this sort of stuff, and it was fantastic to watch. And hats off to the programmers at Blues on Broadbeach, because this is a festival that's put together by the Business Council and stuff like that, and the City Council of the Gold Coast. It's all free.
Wow.
Yeah, and they've got Ian Moss played. He headlined the Friday night. They've got on Sunday nights. They've got a paid section where they close off the beach stage, the Kurrawa Beach stage, but the rest of it's free. And some fantastic. Bob Log III was there last year, or the
Bob Log III.
Bob Log III.
Hang on, now that's taking me back.
Yeah,
now we're talking about a guy who plays solo guitar with is it a gas mask he has on? No, it's a helmet.
It's a helmet. It's a motorcycle helmet. Yeah,
motorcycle helmet. That's right.
Yes, and he was incredibly good, and Eric Gales was on, and Lockie Doley, who's a Adelaide boy made good, was playing, and now he's playing with Joe Bonamassa. He's his keyboard player now.
Oh,
so
really?
Yeah, he'd done 2 shows at the Royal Albert Hall like a week before, and then comes and plays at Blues on Broadbeach for free. Yeah. And he's got this incredible, I don't know if you've seen him before, he plays a Hammond, and he's got this clavinet, which is, it's like it's an old 60s stringed keyboard. He's fitted a whammy bar to it, basically. So when he plays it, so the clavinet, think about the opening chords to Superstition. That's the sound. But he's got this massive whammy bar that he's put on it.
So deeply funky already.
Yeah.
And then you put a whammy bar.
And then you put a whammy bar on it. And he just plays it and it sounds incredible. It sounds absolutely fantastic. So if you're interested in that, Lockie Doley, have a look at it. He's got a ton of videos up on YouTube, so you can check it out. So, WTF, Frank, what's yours?
I've got to do my my surprise, which is
sorry.
Then I'll go to my WTF. Is I like, because I've got a CD collection that I dive into. What I like to do is sometimes just reach in and grab something and put it on. Otherwise, you suffer choice paralysis. And this week I grabbed out this double CD. It's pretty much a radio broadcast bootleg, but it's just extraordinary. It's David Bowie and Nine Inch Nails. I'll do the Molly thing and put it up so you can see it there. And this is from 1995 when Bowie was doing, I think some of that 90s period. Yeah, it was just after that. He started to record solo again and started to record a whole bunch of albums like Earthling and the Next Day. And those records, I think, are really good. Black Tie, White Noise, all of those records. I think he was getting back to some of his best stuff at that point. And then he took his sort of like 12-year break and delivered 2 albums before he died. But he was touring with Nine Inch Nails. And in a classic sort of Bowie way, that he always, hitched his wagon to the next wave before the wave actually broke, as he did with Lou Reed and with Iggy in Berlin. And then, he was basically went down to the Blitz Club and, harvested Steve Strange and all the sort of new romantic kids before that became huge. And they're all in the video for Ashes to Ashes when they're walking along the beach. And that's a great story about that when they're doing that video, and you see there's an old guy walking a dog, and they asked the guy to leave the beach, and someone said to him, "Don't you know who that is over there?" And looking at Bowie, and he's some fucking plonker in a clown suit. Yeah, that's who that is. It just kept walking. I love that sort of, breaking the fourth wall. That one when they're walking on the beach and all the people are sort of scraping up behind David Bowie. It looked like someone who escaped from a German cabaret club. But anyway, so he's always picked his moments, and he was touring with the Nine Inch Nails, but not only doing the individual sets, but they actually play together. Like, he uses the Nine Inch Nails as his backing band. So you get this version of Bowie on this, of the Nine Inch Nails do their own songs, Bowie sings some of their songs, and then he sings with the Nine Inch Nails a lot of his newer stuff, but some of the older stuff as well. And it's just fantastic. It's just like, it's of the time. It's very much that mid-90s time when Nine Inch Nails was sort of building to be one of the biggest bands in the world. I think just before, March of the Pigs and all that sort of stuff, and Closer and that. But it's just amazing. Like, I put it on, and Bowie the Shapeshifter does it again, and the combination of the two, very, very rare that you would have that these days, but it's really, really good. You can check it out. It's still around, I think, in form. It's probably online somewhere. It's called Back in Anger, 1995, Nine Inch Nails with David Bowie, and if that's your thing, the set list is brilliant. It's got everything from, Heart's Filthy Lesson from the more recent works, The Man Who Sold the World, Closer, Nine Inch Nails, their tunes, Scary Monsters, it's just brilliant. Anyway, it's been a lot of fun.
So what's the backing band? So what do they sound like? Do they sound like Nine Inch Nails, or do they sound like they're doing Bowie tunes, or...?
Yeah, they play their own stuff, and he sings on some of the Nine Inch Nails songs, and then they play his songs.
When they play his songs, are they faithful to what they were, or are they different kind of renditions, different arrangements and stuff?
They're similar renditions, but the actual sound of it, and it sounds very much distinctively the Nine Inch Nails playing.
Wow, I'll have to check it out.
It's great. It's really interesting.
And can I pick up on, David Bowie's my favourite artist, and I love Nine Inch Nails, but I wanted to pick up on something that you started that conversation with, and that is that you were looking through your CDs and you just plucked something randomly out of it. And I just wanted to very briefly talk about the return to physical media and the fact that CDs are now being bought again in second-hand stores. They've actually got currency and people are releasing on CDs, etc. Vinyl, we know, is really expensive for a lot of people to buy. And I pity poor folk who are trying to start a vinyl collection these days because it's just so ridiculously expensive. But the attraction to physical media for a lot of young people is a really interesting thing, I think, because obviously very cheaply you've got access to pretty much the entire history of music if you want it. But there is something about the joy of plucking a record or a CD out of a shelf and then looking at the CD cover and then putting it in. But I also really like the idea of the selection. I only play records at home, and when I'm looking for a record, what I'll do is I'll switch off I don't even know what I'm going to put on, but I won't do it randomly. What I'll do is I'll just flick through the covers, and as I'm flicking, suddenly the brain will go, that one. And I won't even... I have this bet with myself, I've got to put it on no matter what it is. But it's the subconscious going, actually, I want to hear that because I know what that is faster than you can process it, especially my brain. So it's a great little game to play at home when you've retired. That's my...
So that's Wednesday afternoon taken care of.
There you go. Oh, I'm still in my dressing gown. Where's Richard Kingsmill? Come on!
Where are you? Show your face, King. We're going to badger him on this podcast until he turns up.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, that sounds like a good thing. Let's do that. Yeah, well, what I love about putting on physical media too, for whatever reason, it kind of forces you to sit down in between the speakers and have a listen, doesn't it? Rather than just having it in your ears or in the car or whatever, just walking around. I really enjoy just sitting down and reading the lyrics and looking at the art and yeah, it's a different sensation. It's certainly, and it's a more immersive sensation for sure.
I've got physical media all over me in the form of big black Labrador at the moment. But anyway, now, the other thing about it is that you make a choice to have a relationship with the artist. If you're just tuning in via, Spotify or Apple Music, whatever, it's a sort of it's a casual drive-by. You're not really making an investment emotionally or even with a monetary sense with the artist. But when you buy a record, you're sort of joining a tribe in a way as well. I think that's what it always was for us as kids growing up. With records, the choice itself was what mattered. I'm going to choose to be a Joy Division fan. Here, I bought Unknown Pleasures. All right, and it's sort of like I'm picking a team in a way, a tribe, and that's what I loved about it, and still do. But it's so much harder these days because there's so much music to navigate. I mean, it must be so difficult to find your tribe if that's your passion, because it's segmented in so many ways, which is both its beauty and its challenge. Is that you might listen to something once and go, don't know if I like that, and never go back to it. Whereas previously, if you bought a record and you put it on the first time, we'd all have records that we fell in love with that and on first we go, I don't know what this is. I don't know how to make sense of this. But you've bought the record, so you know what? You're going to have to go back and listen to it. You've made the investment.
They're your favourite records. I mean, every Shins record I've bought, I've had that experience where I've gone, oh, this is not as good as the other ones.
Yeah.
And then you listen to it 4 or 5 times and go, oh, this is absolutely fantastic. But I did want to jump in there as well and just link back to that earlier conversation about community and community radio, of course. But this idea that the great joy of going and supporting some live music in your neighbourhood or in your town means that you are, like just what you've been saying there, Francis, you are buying in, by physically being there, you're buying in and being part of that tribe. And if it's something that resonates with you, it's not just the music that you get, but it's also the friendship group and the socialisation and all those sorts of things that come with it. And particularly if you're at an age where it's an exciting time of your life to do that. So, yeah, it's, oh God, we're old, but I love it. Yes, thank you.
Shall we do WTF, Cozzy, to finish up?
Well, I've had my WTF. You go with yours, mate.
Now, when was the last time you went to a wedding?
Oh, a fair while ago.
December.
Would you go to a wedding? Would you pay money to go to someone else's stranger's wedding just because you like weddings?
Well, it depends.
No.
Just because you like weddings?
I would not.
It's the grog free.
Well, yes, Cozzy, that's part of it. So I've heard this story this week that there's a site in the States called notaweddingcrasher.com where people, real weddings, thoughtfully shared, attend or host a wedding experience. So if you're having a wedding and you think, you know what, I think I can make a bit of money back here by having a table of people who pay for the experience to come along and just be at our wedding, total strangers. Why don't we do it? And you can do that. You can go to someone's wedding. I thought, why would people want to do that? Well, I think some people might want to do that because some people just love a wedding, right? And some people just love to go to a wedding. They get caught up in the romance of two people, sharing their vows and their love and their story. Other people.
Nah. What you are describing is an empire in a state of rapid decline, and that is the nadir. That is scraping the very bottom of the
Robbie,
barrel.
you hard-nosed cynic.
No, I can't imagine anything worse. I mean,
Let me go to the website and see if I can convince you, Robbie, that you want to go to. There are a couple of weddings here. Which one do you want to go to? Let's go to a wedding in Las Vegas. It's the ad to what happens in Vegas ends in marriage. It's happening on September 10. Ceremony reception, dress cocktail, open bar for a $60 ticket. We're a fun, faith-filled Vegas couple who love people and definitely know how to have a good time. Expect good vibes, dancing, laughter, food, and memories. And we bring love, energy, and a little magic. But you know what? The thing about it, I think, is really about this is that if you are of the mind as a single person and you think, what's a good way to meet new people? I don't know. Might go to a wedding. Why is a wedding good? Oh, there's like... Weddings are good because there's a little romance and a little eros in the air. You never know. There might be a groomsman. There might be a bridesmaid. And you could be in with a big chance.
Dude, they've got to pay me $60 and then I'll think about it.
$60 and free grog.
Free grog. You could go to, N&L's wedding in Mickinaw City, Michigan. They're two active duty Air Force couples. So you could probably go dressed up in a flyer's uniform if that's your thing, right? Like you could cosplay the wedding. Only $50. Mixed bar. No ripped jeans. You're not allowed to wear any ripped jeans to this wedding, Robbie. I'm telling you, if you turn up in your ripped jeans...
that's it. That's Robbie out.
And don't come as Al-Qaeda because you're in real trouble then.
Check it out if you want to go on your next American trip just to an American wedding for a cultural experience, notaweddingcrasher.com. I think this is genius. This is American innovation at its finest. That's why... This
is
only one of the people want to bomb them.
We've seen a lot of it from America and there's just more.
We're going to start the Australian branch, Robbie, and you're going to be like the celebrant.
Well, Robbie's going to be the DJ.
Well, that's true. All right, now I'm on.
So now you're in?
Yeah.
Robbie, have you got a what the fuck moment for us?
No, mate, I am in the middle of it right now. Speaking to you guys on this podcast is the what the fuck moment, all right? It's meta, but it's absolutely true.
Gentlemen, what a pleasure. What an absolute pleasure to be on Grumpy Jukebox. I reckon we should do it again.
Let's do it again.
At some stage. Like, in a couple of weeks' time.
That's true.
So who's going to tell Kingsmill he's up?
Oh, look, I'm happy to demand that he comes on. Honestly, I mean, who does he think he is, for goodness sake? Get out of the fucking garage, Kingsmill, and get on the podcast. Send him that. I don't care.
Take that up and put it on social media. Trending.
Yeah, take that.
Robbie who? All right, boys. Thank you very much for joining us here on the Grumpy Jukebox. We'll do it all again sometime. Take care. Robbie Buck, Francis Leach, and I'm Costa Zouliou. Take care.